Hi, everybody, and welcome to Chat with Kat. I am here with another Disability Pride Month episode, and I want to tell you a quick story. So, I just posted a whole bunch of pictures of myself and my family having a wonderful day at the beach, and it ending with me reading a book to my nephew at bedtime, and it was a wonderful time. But you know the saying how pictures speak 1,000 words? Well, that's not always true because the one of the pictures that I want to point out of myself on the beach with my sister and my mom has much more of a story than that picture shows. So we went to Bill Baggs State Park in Key Biscayne, and we went there because my sister had made sure that it was a fully accessible beach with not only a Moby mat on the sand, but beach wheelchairs that could help get me to the ocean and maybe even in the ocean. Because some of them actually float in the ocean. But unfortunately, that wasn't the case when we got there. So, what do I mean by that? Well, there was a Moby mat, but it didn't go as far as we had hoped. And unfortunately, there was no beach wheelchair available because the one beach wheelchair that they had broke. And they supposedly are waiting for a shipment of 3 more. But that didn't help us in the moment. Now, luckily, my family has dealt with my disability for 42 years, and they all have different levels of acceptance and accommodations that they adjust in those type of situations. But my sister Mariana and my mom, I have to give them props, are probably two of the best in moments where I need to get to where I need to go. And especially, with the help of my brother-in-law too. So the three of them really jumped into action and helped me get to where we wanted to go. And that was wonderful. But it was also kind of upsetting to me because a day in the beach is supposed to be relaxing for all people that go. That's why people go to the beach, is to relax and to have a good time. And even though we did have a good time, it wasn't the most relaxing situation for anyone at hand, including myself, because I felt bad that my family couldn't just, relax in the moment. They had to figure out a way to help me, and they had to tug my chair, and they had to do all this stuff. And so, my point in telling you this story is that it's all well and good to say that a place is inclusive and say that there's accessibility, but there really wasn't truthful, number one. And number two, the people that were there working pretty much just kind of didn't really care. They were like, yeah, the chair's broken and it's not that big of a deal and we're waiting for more. And so they really didn't understand the significance and the importance of it. And what made matters worse, in my opinion, was that my family and myself were not the only ones affected by this lack of accessibility at Bill Baggs State Park. There was another family that arrived shortly after we did who had a teenage son, maybe 13, 14 years old, who has a disability that is, how can I say this, a little bit more of an, a little bit more complicated than my own. He had a little less mobility than I do. And to see his family have to kind of jump to the same action and have this ingenuity in their blood of okay, how are we going to help him get into the ocean? How are we going to help him get onto the sand? it was beautiful to watch them all band together, but it was also frustrating that we are in 2026. Again, we are 36 years into the ADA, and we're still dealing with this issue of not only a lack of accessibility, but a lack of importance of the issue of anyone that isn't affected by it personally. So that's my little PSA of the night, and I hope that that kind of brings out a fire in those of you with disabilities that are watching this to speak out yet again. I'm urging you to speak out about any kind of lack of accessibility, lack of care that you might face in your day-to-day. And I'm also urging those without a disability to understand that there's a reason for the ADA. It's important to allow people with disabilities to live a free and fulfilling life. And we can't do that if there's no way to get from point A to point B. Because not everyone has an amazing family like I do, and not everyone has an amazing family like that little teenage boy. So you really have to put accessibility in the forefront of every business owner out there. So thank you and have a good night. Bye.